Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler. I'm your host and the founder of the Order of Man podcast and this movement that's been going for almost 9 years now. So wild to think about, but really grateful that you're here, tuning in, listening to what we have to say, and of course, applying it. I mean, isn't that the ultimate objective to make sure that we take good information, we apply it in our lives, and then it makes our lives and the people around us better? I can't say that I'm always great at this. And I'm sure you feel much the same way, but our goal is to continue to improve. So, regardless of your situation as a man, whatever you're dealing with, know that it can get better, know that you can improve, and hopefully, we're giving you information that'll help you do that. So, today I've got a good one. All right, we're going to talk about the enemy, we're going to talk about Satan a little bit, but more specifically, we're going to talk about what he wants out of you and why he is the adversary and why he is working so hard against you. So whether you're spiritual or a believer or not, I think you're going to find this valuable because we need to realize what we're up against. And we are up against tremendous odds, and the stakes are very high. And unless we realize what's happening, what's going on, why it's happening, we don't have all the information that we need to thrive and be successful as men. So, what I want to start by saying is that Satan wants you to be miserable. Now, I know there's a lot of people who listen who aren't Christian, who aren't spiritual in any sort of religion or anything like that. But so fill in the blank. You know, I hear people say a lot, the universe or I don't know, Mother Nature or whatever, karma, whatever. I fill in the blank. All right. It's Satan, it's God, but fill in the blank with whatever you want, extract what you want. But Satan wants you miserable. He wants you fat. He wants you lazy. He wants you lonely and isolated. He wants you broke. He wants you scared. He wants you confused. He wants you drunk. I've talked a little bit about my battle with alcoholism. He wants us drunk. He wants us lustful, prideful, arrogant, addicted, all of the things that you and I deal with on a daily basis. He wants that out of us. Like, that's what he wants for you. He wants you to be miserable. He wants you to be wretched. He wants you to be down in the dumps. He wants you to be lonely. He wants all of these things. Why? Because you're so much easier, just as I am, to control and manipulate and tear down and destroy, and to sit idly back as you watch other people do the same thing to the things that we love and care about. That's what he wants out of us. And I'm not here to tell you that I have it all figured out, but I acknowledge what he wants. And he wants you to be less of the man that you and I are capable of becoming, because he can get what he wants. The great design of his design is to destroy, to manipulate, to contort, to distort, to bring into contention into your life, like we talked about last week, and then you're easier to control. If you are compromised, dare I say vulnerable, using the right way, if you are vulnerable, if you are weak, if you are compromised, as I have been in my life, look, again, I'm not preaching from the pulpit or the pedestal. I'm down in the trenches with you guys, as I have been in my life, especially in the recent past. Then we can fulfill his work, and we can bring forth communism and socialism and evil and destruction and chaos and horror and terror. And we see it. Don't you see it? Don't you see it in society? I mean, turn on the news for 5 minutes and you can see what's going on. You see hundreds and hundreds of children descending in Chicago, on the streets of Chicago last week, for terror. And even worse than that, you see what's happening in places like Afghanistan and what they do to their people and subjugate their women. I mean, it's horrible. It's wretched. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And unless you and I, can step up into the men that we need to be, we're going to continue to see more of this. It's not going to get better. Do you guys believe, honestly, that it's going to get better? As we sit by and we sedate ourselves with alcohol, as we sit by and sedate ourselves with pornography, as we sit by and sedate ourselves with whatever your vice of choice is, and we continue to be fat and lazy and pathetic. You think it's going to get better? You think that our politicians are going to step up and do what we hope and wish they would do? No, they're not. They're part of the design. They have been compromised, and we aren't willing to do anything about it. Now, it's easy to sit back and say, well, our politicians this, our leaders that, my boss this, my wife this, the economy that. It's easy to do that. And it's enticing to do that. And you know whose plan that is? That's Satan's plan. He wants us to blame it on other things that are outside of our control, because if we blame it on something else, then, well, there's nothing I can do. And isn't that what he wants? He doesn't want you to do anything. So he wants you to be a loser. And many of us, and I have fall prey to this, and we succumb to this temptation of what I've dubbed over the past several years, the natural man. We all do. But I think it's very, very important we understand what's happening here. And this is a grand design. This is part of a bigger plan. And you and I can be pawns in the plan, or we can be kings and knights and bishops, if we're using that analogy. And we can do what we need to do, not only to be on the defensive, but to go on the offensive. And how do we do that? Well, we make ourselves better men. And I've got some strategies here. Number one is we need to realize what's happening. So many of us are completely oblivious to what's going on. We think it's just nature, or we think it's just happening as a happenstance because we're just a clump of cells, as some people would like to say. That isn't what's happening. There's a designer here. There's a plan here. There's a war being waged. And we need to realize what we're up against, because if we don't face the reality and the truth of what we're up against, we can't do anything about it. So let's open our eyes. Let's open our hearts. Let's open our minds to what in the world is going on. I had a great conversation with a friend yesterday who happens to be my agent as well for books and things like this. And as we were talking, she had said that truth is the foundation for growth. And I've talked about that, and that's absolutely true. It's absolutely correct that unless we can have an honest assessment of where we're at, even though it's hard to see, even though you're going to have to look in the mirror and probably not like what you see, even though you're going to have to make some confessions about what is getting to you, whether it's lustful desires or alcoholism or just being slothful and lazy or pride and arrogance, the 7 deadly sins you're all familiar with. We have to wake up to the fact that we are all susceptible to that. Unless you realize you're susceptible to that, you think you're invincible. I did for so many years. I thought that I was completely invincible. I thought I had my finances dialed in, which I actually do have that dialed in, but I thought I had my family relationships dialed in. How delusional was I? I thought that I was controlled and I was disciplined, and clearly I wasn't. I was not operating in truth. I was operating in a place of delusion and confusion and haze. And I'm clear now. I'm clear. Took some painful conversations, some painful lessons, but I'm clear. And it's hard and it's ugly and it's difficult to deal with. And it's also the foundation for growth. So let's realize the enemy. Let's realize what we're up against. Let's realize the severity of the nature of what we're dealing with. And let's figure this out from here. Number 2 is, as you find yourself engaged in activities that the enemy, Satan, would love you to participate in, we've got to find a way to replace those. Alcoholism, alcohol in general, is still a temptation for me. It's probably something I'll always deal with. Guess who knows that? Satan. He knows that. And so that's a battle that I have to fight. That's a battle that I will continue to fight against, because I am vulnerable there. I am susceptible there. But I've got to figure out a way to replace that. So I've been doing a couple of things. I've been very active in the gym lately. I've started to run over the past several weeks now, mainly because I'm participating in a Ragnar relay race. So I'm trying to get ready for that. I can't be isolated. If I'm alone, then I'm going to drink, or at least I'm tempted to. So I know, like I know what's happening. I'm very clear about what's happening, and I've got to replace those activities. So what are the healthy activities you're engaged in? What community do you belong to? What clubs and organizations do you participate in? What activities that are healthy and good for you do you engage in? When you're tempted to do something you shouldn't, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's gambling, maybe it's womanizing, maybe it's just sitting your ass on the couch and playing video games for 4 or 5 hours a day. What are you going to do instead? If you don't think about what you're going to do instead, then I'm telling you what, the video game is going to get a hold of you. The laziness is going to get a hold of you. The alcohol is going to get a hold of me. The pornography is going to get a hold of people unless you know what you're going to do instead. And then you make that commitment and you do it. Number 3, so realize it, replace the activity. Number 3, surround yourself with men who stand against that stuff. And look, there's no man out there. I don't care who you think it is. I don't care if you think it's David Goggins or Tim Tebow or Terry Crews or Matt Walsh or Matthew McConaughey, Tim Kennedy, Jocko. I don't care who it is. Okay. And these are guys that we've had on the podcast. Look, they don't have it all figured out. Okay. And I don't either, clearly, obviously. And you don't. And none of us do. So I'm not here to tell you that you got to find 3 to 4 to 5 guys in your circle who have everything figured out. That's not reality. And as much as we would like to paint over our messy and difficult lives, like it's just not reality. But you can find guys who are on the path. And you can find guys who maybe are good in some aspects of your life that you're not 100% at. And the more you find guys like that, the better off you are. So how do you find guys like that? I mean, honestly, it's so simple. It really is simple. You go where those men are and then you engage. You know, they're at the gym. How do you engage with the guy at the gym? Find the biggest, baddest looking mother effer, go up to him and say, hey, man, seen you in here the past couple of weeks. You got an incredible physique. I'm trying to lose some weight. I'm trying to build some muscle. Any tips? Like, how hard is that? It's so simple. And yet we don't do it because what? We allow our ego to get in the way. Oh, I can't ask him. What if he thinks I'm an idiot? What if this? What if that? Oh, look, he's better than me and he's better. Get that. That's Satan. Get that stuff out of your head. If there's somebody who's very savvy in business that you know, maybe you talk about sports, maybe your wife and his wife are friends, and maybe you kind of dance around on the fringe of conversation and friendship, just call that guy up. Like, show some initiative. Hey, Joe, you know, we've been friends for a long time. Our wives are friends. We haven't spent a whole lot of time together, but you seem like you're super successful in business. I'm starting this new business and I would love to take you to lunch and have a conversation about what you've done to be a success. Joe's not going to say no. I promise you, he's not going to say no. This is easy. But again, if you isolate yourself and tell yourself it's weird or it's awkward or that guy doesn't know me, that's not you. That's the enemy working actively against you, going out and banding with other men who can serve you. Another great way is our exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council. Obviously, I'm biased towards that. That's part of our organization and what we do. But if you have a hard time connecting with other men like this, join the Iron Council. Engage. You know, I can't tell you how often I have a guy join the Iron Council. I had one this morning. Join the Iron Council 4 days ago. 5 days now. 5 days ago, he joined the Iron Council. Sends me a message. He's like, hey, man, I kind of poked around and it's not really for me. So can I get out and get a refund? Look, I'm going to give us a refund because I'm not going to dink around with his money. I don't do that. But what did you do? I can go in and see in your activity. There's no activity. So for 4 or 5 days, you poked around, you dinked around, you didn't really do anything. You didn't engage. You didn't join a team. You didn't do any of the assignments. You didn't connect or reach out to anybody. You're not part of any channels. And now you want a refund. Okay. I'll give you a refund because you really didn't do anything and you didn't get any value from what we're doing. But good hell, take some initiative, put some work in, put some effort in. And I think you'll find if you put yourself out there and you take risks and you initiate and you build what you want to build, then more often than not, you're going to find that you're going to have success or at least growth on your path to success. But don't tell me, hey, you want out because you didn't do anything, therefore you didn't receive any results. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. So go connect with guys in your area. Don't ask me how anymore. Like go, like you're at the gym. There's a guy in your office that you think highly of. There's a neighbor that is obviously successful and you probably haven't talked with or invited to a barbecue. There's friends that are kind of dancing around on the fringes of being friendly with you. Like, call them. Hey, man, I'm going golfing this weekend. I've got one extra spot in our foursome. You want to come over? You might say no. So what? Invite somebody else. And that's a great tactic itself. Is golfing is a great way to network with other people. I like jujitsu because you're on there and you're being physical, and it's something that appeals to me. But there isn't a whole lot of talking going on in jujitsu. Golf, it's all you do. You get up to the tee box and you make your drive and you make your shots. But other than that, you're in a cart with one other person and you're having conversations. Like, ask real questions. Enough with hey, how's the Red Sox doing? Enough with, the weather's going to be cold. Like, bullshit. I don't care about the Red Sox. I don't care about the weather. You know what I care about? Winning. I care about what you're doing because I want to do it. Like, if I've got a guy who's super successful, I want to know how he's doing it so I can do it too. If I've got a guy who's successful with his kids or his wife, I want to do it, know how to do it because I'm failing in that department. Like, I got to know. So surround yourself with those people. Number 4, evaluate your day. I know this is beating a dead horse, but if you don't have a journal, here's my journal right here. If you're following along on YouTube, you can check it out at Order of Man. But here's my journal right here, little red journal. And I go in there and I write, hey, what did I do today? What went well? What didn't go so well? Where was I tempted? Where did I fall? Where did I falter? Where did I struggle? How did I deal with obstacles and challenges and hurdles? When was I mentally weighed down? When was I emotionally vulnerable? What did I do to improve my physical fitness? What did I do to improve my relationships? These are all prompts that I don't answer all of those questions every day, but these are prompts that I use on a daily basis to evaluate my performance. And I can tell you that every single day, without fail, without exception, I fall short of what I want to accomplish. And I'm not here to tell you that's okay. I don't think it's okay, but I am here to tell you that it happens and it's going to happen. And there's only one perfect man to ever walk the earth. And he's not you, and he's not me. And so every day we're going to struggle and we're going to suck at different things of our lives. Write it down. Where did I struggle? Where did I face adversity? What was I tempted with? How did I fall? How did I falter? And then ask yourself, what am I going to do tomorrow? If you're tempted with alcohol, or you're tempted with pornography, or you're tempted with being slothful or lazy, ask yourself, what will I do tomorrow to ensure that the adversary does not get a hold of me these ways that I am vulnerable? Because he knows you and you know you, and you're going to find every path of least resistance that you possibly can to succumb to those things. And that's the plan. That you're weak and you're lazy and you're pathetic and you're isolated, because that's when we're vulnerable. And that's how I want to use vulnerable. I don't like using vulnerable for like sharing the truth. That's just being honest. Vulnerable is weakness. It's things that can be exploited. It's areas of your life that you need to shore up. Let's stop praising vulnerability. And we need to be honest about it, but let's be honest so that we can be better, not for the sake of being vulnerable. Number 5, just try again. All right, barring some catastrophic event where you die, you get to wake up every single day and you get to try again. and you're going to fail, and we're going to lose, and we're going to suffer. And there's going to be consequences that we need to deal with and live with. And yet, every single day, we can get up, blood pumping through our veins, air coursing through our lungs, and we can decide, who am I going to be today? I think it was Gandhi who said, each night, I'm paraphrasing here, each night when I go to sleep, I die. And when I wake up, I'm reborn. I'm reborn today. You're reborn today. Now, that doesn't absolve us of the consequences of our past decisions, but what you do now matters. And so when you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to try again. Yesterday was a success in some areas and a failure in other areas, but today I'm going to try again. I was coaching my 7-year-old son's little league team yesterday, baseball team, and it's coach pitch. And at the stage they're at right now, you get 6 pitches or 3 swings, and that's considered a strikeout or an out. If you either have 6 pitches and you don't hit it, or 3 swings and you don't hit it. And we had a couple boys yesterday who didn't hit it, on their 3 swings. And that's part of life. That's part of baseball. And I said, that's okay. Good swings. You're going to get a chance to come up next inning and do it again. And a couple of those boys came up the next inning, made a couple of pivots, made a couple of adjustments. One in particular, I won't say his name. He said, Coach, I got to use a different bat. Cool. Grab a smaller bat. Next at bat, he grabbed a smaller bat, hit a really, really nice single to right field. Get up, guys, and try again. Do something different. You got to do something. You can't do the same thing we did yesterday. We got to do something different, but we get an opportunity to try again. And the last thing I want to share with you, and I'm going to just give you a disclaimer here. This one's a bit biased, but if I didn't think it would be helpful for you, then I wouldn't have created what we're creating here. But what I would suggest to you is that you need to have a plan. Okay. You can't just wake up and hopefully things will work out, because you know who's planning? Satan. And if you're not planning as well, if you're not war gaming what in the world you're going to do today, then he's got an advantage over you. And I don't want him to have an advantage over me or you. So we need to have a plan of attack. If we don't have a plan, we're already failing when we wake up. Hopefully things will work out. When has that ever worked for you? Of course it hasn't. So we need to have a plan. I would suggest to you the battle plan. I have a free resource available. It's called the Battle Ready Program, 30 Days to Battle Ready. And it's going to walk you through, with a series of 17 emails, what you can do to have a plan ready in 4 facets of your life. So it's calibration, which is mental, emotional, and spiritual, like we're talking about today. It's connection. So the relationships that you have with other people, we talked about with other men, other brothers, but also family, friends, coworkers, colleagues. It's condition, which is your physical health. Your physical body needs to be in shape. I'm telling you what, I've gotten shape better, not totally, not exactly dialed into the way that I want, but I'm on the path. Over the past 6-7 months, I feel awesome. Energy, stamina, focus, clarity, confidence, because of my physical condition. And then the last one is contribution, which is becoming a man of value. Learning new skills, developing a skill set, learning how to deal with your finances and money so that you can contribute and add value into people's lives. One of the things that I'm fortunate enough to do because of our financial situation is sponsor I talked about baseball, sponsor our Little League community center. I'm one of the title sponsors, Order of Man is. We're in the position to be able to do that because I've had some financial success over the past 8 years. And so now I can actually give back and contribute to the community that I love and care about. So that last component of it is contribution. Guys, this is the plan. Again, I'll end it by saying that the enemy wants you miserable and wretched and lonely and sad and confused and fat and broke and lazy. We cannot be that. We've got to be more. People are relying on us. God has a plan for you and for me. We don't always know what it is. It's not always comfortable. In fact, a lot of times it's uncomfortable. We don't like it. We wish it was our plan, but it isn't. And we don't understand what's going on. But I'll tell you what, if we can learn to make ourselves more capable and we can learn to make ourselves more independent and we can learn to ward off the enemy, push the enemy away and fight against the enemy, then we're going to better serve not only ourselves, but the people around us. Isn't that what we want to do? Protect, provide, preside is what we've talked about for years. That's what we want. You wouldn't listen to this podcast for very long if that wasn't what you wanted. So let me recap here for you. Number one, realize the stakes and the enemy we're fighting. Number two, replace activities with positive and healthy activities. Number three, find men who stand against what you're working against. Number four, evaluate your day. Number five, try again. And number six, have a plan. I don't think I gave you the link. It's orderaman.com/battle ready. It's a free program. So it's not like I'm charging you to learn how to do this stuff. Now, if you want other more in-depth information and accountability, you can look at our Iron Council, which is orderaman.com/Iron Council. But if you just want to create a plan, go to orderaman.com/battle ready. If at that point you feel like you want more, orderaman.com/Iron Council. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you today. Get out there and fight the good fight. We need more of us in this battle. And I don't care how broken, how bruised, how battered, how tainted, how messed up you are. We all are. You can get up and you can try again and you can make yourself more. And we ought to be doing that. All right, guys, I hope that helps. Leave me a message, send me an email, hit me up on the InstaWebs, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those places. And we'll connect from there. All right, guys, we'll be back next week. Next week is the one and only George Foreman. So make sure you subscribe. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Until then, go out there, take action. Do not allow yourself to be tempted by the adversary. And let's become the men we are meant to be.